US President Donald Trump accused NBC News of fudging a May 2017 interview. In the interview, Trump has tied his decision to fire the then FBI Director James Comey to the federal probe into Russia's alleged election interference. Trump fired Comey on May 8th in a move that Comey alleged sought to undercut the probe. Trump, however, had claimed that Comey was not doing a good job. The US president provided no evidence to prove that the interview was indeed fudged. Meanwhile, the United Nations called on Russia, Iran and Turkey on Thursday to forestall a battle in Syria's Idlib province. The world body said that a war situation could affect over 1 million civilians and see both sides using chlorine as a chemical weapon. The United Nations Special Envoy to Syria, Staffan de Mistura, warned that miscalculations may occur and could lead to an unforeseen escalation. He said it would be better to set up a humanitarian corridor to evacuate the civilians from Idlib before rushing into a battle. 8 people were injured on Thursday when the roof of a water treatment facility collapsed in Chicago. According to reports, the building collapsed as a result of an explosion, the cause of which is yet to be known. Rescue workers were rushed to the spot in order to look for survivors under the rubble. The Chicago Fire Department said that one person has been severely injured during this collapse. French President Emmanuel Macron on Thursday condemned the anti-immigration protests in Germany. He said that the freedom of expression comes with an obligation to respect others. Thousands took part in the 2-day protest against asylum seekers in Chemnitz this week. This was after police arrested a Syrian and an Iraqi on suspicion of fatally stabbing a German man on Sunday. Remember, Germany is deeply divided over Chancellor Merkel's decision to take in over 1 million migrants. Talks between Canada and the United States intensified on Thursday as the two countries sat down to chalk out the revamped North American Free Trade Agreement. Despite some contentious issues still on the table, there is an increasing positive tone from both the sides. This is also despite US President Donald Trump's recent criticism of Canada. Negotiations entered a crucial phase this week after the United States and Mexico announced a bilateral deal on Monday. But with both United States and Canada upbeat about this week's progress, there is growing hope that the year-long talk will conclude with trilateral agreement. China on Thursday said that the remarks of the United States on the North Korean issue are irresponsible and hard to understand. The Chinese Foreign Ministry accused the US of distortion of facts and logic. It said China hopes that US can play a positive, constructive and responsible role in pushing for a political resolution in the Korean Peninsula issue. The comments come after US President Donald Trump questioned Beijing's role in resolving the crisis over Pyongyang's development of nuclear weapons. Trump also accused Beijing of supplying considerable aid to Pyongyang, including fuel and fertilizer. China's defense ministry said on Thursday that it was supporting Afghanistan's defense and counter-terrorism efforts. This comes a day after Beijing denied plans to either build a base in Afghanistan or send Chinese troops to the war-torn country. On Wednesday, China's foreign ministry dismissed a media report that cited sources saying that the Chinese military was funding the construction of a camp in Afghanistan's narrow Wakhan corridor linking the two countries. The Ugandan police has detained 2 lawmakers, one of whom is also a pop star at the country's sole international airport, which is located in Kampala. Supporters allege that the duo was trying to seek treatment abroad for injuries suffered while being tortured by the security forces. Widespread protests have broken out in the country after allegations were made that Robert Kyagulanyi and Francis Zaki were tortured after being detained for throwing stones at the presidential convoy. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff General Joseph Dunford will be visiting Pakistan next week. The duo will be holding talks with Pakistan's new leadership, Imran Khan. The talks will focus on terrorism. U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis said that the high-level meeting will clearly ascertain the steps that the two nations have to take in order to counter terrorism. U.S. President Donald Trump said that U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is safe is his job at least until the November congressional elections. In a comment to a TV channel, Trump said, and I quote, "I just would love to have him do a great job." Trump has repeatedly attacked Sessions for recusing himself from the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. elections. After the recusal, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed Special Counsel Robert Mueller to lead the probe. Trump had called this as a witch hunt. The United States Department of Justice has thrown its support behind a lawsuit against the Harvard University. The University of Harvard has been accused of discriminating against Asian American applicants. The Justice Department argued that the university's race-based admission process has in fact disadvantaged them. The department has been investigating Harvard for potential civil rights violation, and it made its arguments in documents filed in federal court in Boston. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has said that his country will support Colombia in every possible way in order to push its peace talks with the rebel group ELN. Sanchez has also praised Colombia for its extraordinary humanitarian efforts in helping Venezuelan migrants. Sanchez is on his first tour to Latin America since taking office in June and will travel to Costa Rica next. Argentina's peso lost as much as nearly 1/5 of its value on Thursday, despite the central bank hiking its benchmark interest rate to 60%. The peso has been the world's worst performing currency this year. It finished down 13.12% at a record closing low of 13.25 pesos per US dollar after touching 42 pesos earlier on Thursday. Onerous borrowing costs combined with government spending cuts and a drought have contributed to the currency's plight. Argentina is expected to enter recession in the third quarter. German Chancellor Angela Merkel arrived in Ghana on Thursday on day 2 of the Africa tour. She aims to promote investment as a means of the developing continent and tackling the immigration crisis in Europe. Merkel and her contingent of business leaders met with young entrepreneurs at Accra's Impact Hub. China has alerted India about the rising water level in Tsangpo River. The river is called Tsiang in India's northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh and Brahmaputra in Assam. China said that there is a possibility of floods in downstream areas. The water level in Tsangpo is on 150-year record high. According to Chinese government report, 90-20 cubic of water was discharged into Tsangpo River on Wednesday. British Prime Minister Theresa May danced with Kenyan Scouts at the United Nations Nairobi campus. She was there on Thursday for the launch of an initiative to inspire the youth to combat single-use plastic pollution. May, along with the United Nations Environment Chief Eric Solem, introduced a new plastic challenge badge for Girls Guides and Scouts. Earlier on Thursday, May also met Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta as she rounded off the last leg of 3-day tour of Africa. The British government is mulling the ban on sale of high caffeine soft drinks to children. It said the so-called energy drinks contain high levels of sugar and caffeine and have been linked to obesity and a range of other health issues. The government has launched a consultation seeking views on the subject, including the age group on which the ban should be applicable. The ban would apply to drinks containing 150 milligrams of caffeine or more per litre. The policy would only apply to England, whereas Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland are free to set their own policies. A federal judge in the US has sentenced 26-year-old George Guerra Fano to 8 months in jail for hacking 240 iCloud accounts, including actress Jennifer Lawrence's, and stealing their nude photos. Lawrence had earlier said the invasion was equivalent to a sex crime. George posed as an Apple persona and tricked celebrities into sharing their password and login information with him. 69-year-old French actor Gerard Depardieu has been accused of raping a 22-year-old actress in Paris. The claims against the actor were formally made to police by the actress. The actress reportedly knew Depardieu before the alleged incident took place. The alleged rape occurred this month in one of the actor's Paris residences, as per French media reports. Mourners began pouring into Detroit's Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History to pay their final respects to late Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. They approached her gold-plated casket to the sounds of her gospel recordings. She was in repose, dressed in red from head to high-heeled shoes, legs crossed at the ankles. As they approached, people who came from as far away as Las Vegas and Miami cried, crossed themselves, bowed their heads or blew kisses.